Hello and welcome back to the podcast where I still need a haircut. It's week 3 of lockdown now, and it's getting a bit out there. But welcome back to Misinformed. That's the name we're going for today. We're going to be speaking about what we did throughout the week. Anything interesting happen?
Well, I found a hat because all the barbershops are shut.
Now that is a genius move, and I will bring a hat next time.
Yeah, and especially with the weather being the way it is, being as bald as I am, it saves me getting a little cold bonds, which is nice.
Very cool.
Outside of that, I've done almost nothing this week.
Really?
Almost nothing. What have I done? I watched the SpaceX launch.
Oh yeah, I did that.
The Crew Dragon
coming out. Those astronauts must feel like absolute ballers. I just drive into the launch pad in Teslas.
Yep.
Just with the later Earth on the number plate. It's genius.
Do you know what? I don't know if I told you about this before. I had a dream about a week ago that I went to the moon. Right? In a legit NASA thing, I went to the moon. It was the most terrifying dream I've had in ages.
Was it one of those really super realistic?
It was so
you feel
real.
like you're exactly
so
there.
Real. It was terrifying.
So good.
And then I thought I was watching them countdown, and it got to like maybe 5 minutes before the launch the other night, and I was thinking those people are sat essentially on top of a giant firework. How is everybody in that little pod just not screaming and freaking out? I can't think of anything more terrifying than being sat in there getting launched into space. It's amazing.
I suppose it's a heavily calculated firework.
Of course. But still,
I get what you mean. You're about to get launched.
You're trusting a bunch of other people who, granted, are incredibly smart.
Yeah.
But you're trusting all of those people to put you on top of that thing that is filled with hyper-cooled kerosene and liquid oxygen and all
liquid
that shit.
Oxygen. Do you see the part on the launch where they said that they don't fuel it until like 30 minutes before the launch to keep the fuel as cold as possible?
Yeah.
Liquid oxygen.
And then they just set fire to it and fire you into outer space. It's as a proposition, it's amazing, but it's fucking terrifying as well.
It really is. Just, I wonder what it feels like. I've been on an airplane once. Do you think that's any? Do you think that's? Maybe I feel like an astronaut.
I don't know if they're close. I don't know if they're close to like hitting. I think they peak at like 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There was a point where he went, right now they've hit 7,000 meters a second. I went, what? 7,000 meters a second, 7 kilometers a second.
That's unthinkable.
It's unbelievably fast.
I've done 80 in my Peugeot.
I think the fastest I've ever gone, like on my own power, is like 120 miles an hour, maybe. And that was, even then, I was like, this is really fast.
We should probably slow down a little bit. Yeah. I can't imagine what that. But to be fair, like, there's not much going on in space, so I bet it doesn't even feel that fast. I bet if you feel like you're not even moving, barely moving.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
17,000 miles an hour. You're not even. I've been watching a lot of Veritasium videos recently, and he's a YouTuber who goes into physics problems and all this weird kind of. The one he released recently was about how they've never actually measured the speed of light. Even though the speed of light is a very well-known measurement in physics, but they've never actually measured the true one-way speed of light. So he goes on and says, every single measurement of speed of light has always been a return journey, there and back, because they have to use a mirror. Yeah. Because you can't use a clock to measure the speed of light. Say you start the laser at here, and then you go a mile down the road, and that's where the finish point is. You can't take a clock down there because of special relativity. That clock will change its time
relative to speed.
So every single speed of light measured has always been a two-way return.
I never knew that.
It's ridiculous to think about that. You're moving a clock, just moving anything, relative to something else can change the time on that it just boggles. That is insanity.
It's mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental.
It is so hard to like. What?
I read a book once by a guy called Marcus Chown or Chone. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but it's called Infinity in the Palm of Your Hand, and it was like a layman's guide to. Well, he's hyper smart, but he's taken all these crazy scientific.
I'll be back in about half an
hour. Okay, lovely. Yeah, so he's taken all of these theories and things about the universe that are like unbelievably complex and tried to make them as simple as possible. And one part of it, that there is no way to definitively know that we're living in a universe that's expanding, because there's every possibility that we're living in one that is actually contracting, but because we perceive time going forward, it's weird. It makes everything opposite. So, because we perceive time in a forward motion, not backwards, like we start young and grow old.
Yeah.
If the universe is contracting, because we see time going from young to old, we observe the universe doing the opposite of what it's actually doing because of the way that we perceive time. So there's every chance that we're living in a universe that's about to suck itself into oblivion, but we'd have no idea. I've completely butchered it, but that is like, I remember reading it and going, like, what? Someone thought of that once upon a time. Someone worked that out.
That's what boggles me about physics and everything, that people actually sit there and work this out.
Yeah.
Like they figure how the
yeah. It does like, it confuses me enough that someone worked out how to make my boiler work.
Yeah, I agree.
Let alone the fact that we might be in a universe that's contracting and have no idea about it because we perceive time in a certain way. It doesn't make sense to me.
Or we're living in a simulation.
I'm leaning towards that. The older I get, and the more I think about it, and I'm probably wrong, but the more I think about it, the more I think we're living in a simulation.
I watched a thing yesterday that was about the game of Go. Have you ever heard about the game of Go? It's this like Korean game.
Complex. Is it from China? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's
or Japan.
Around that area. But they've just I can hear myself in your mic. Why did that just start happening? Yeah, I don't know why. Or was that me?
Do you want me to,
What's
if
happening?
I move away a little bit?
Hello. I don't know. Anyway,
let me turn this on.
It's doing that thing where it's slightly delayed, and it's funny. I can't talk because it's. Oh Jesus. So yeah, this game of Go, it's like this super complex game that's got the explanation on the video was that the game of Go has more what's the word, like different, what's the word I'm thinking of, different things that can happen. There's more different things that can happen in that game than there are particles in the universe.
Wow.
That's how complex it can get.
I read a similar thing that said there's more moves available in a game of chess than there are particles in the universe, which is just it's insane.
Ridiculous. So the reason I bring it up is because of the whole living in a simulation thing. They've made an artificial intelligence that can beat this game, the world champion at the game of Go, which has never been done before. I watched it's called Alpha Go, the documentary. It's on YouTube. I watched it yesterday, and it was just insane how far that we've come with artificial intelligence already. Yeah, and it's not even like AI hasn't even it's
like barely scratched the surface of what it's capable of. There's a few I know it's inevitable. Like artificial intelligence, like sentient computers, are inevitable at some point. But doesn't change the fact that they're absolutely terrifying. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that when we talked about this like a couple episodes ago, I think the day that a computer realizes that it can improve itself and rebuild itself in a better image, we are all fucked.
Yeah. Well,
we're all done.
This artificial intelligence that they built for this game, it went against itself. So they built it to start with. They built it to go against like players and whatnot. But then to learn to get better, it played millions of games against itself. Jeez. And learned how to become better just through playing itself. So that's already like kind of the stage of what you just said. Like it's learning to get better by
studying what it has done in the past and finding errors in its own work and then fixing them. So one day there's going to be a computer that's quote unquote sentient, intelligent, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to look at itself and go, I can do better than this. These humans are dog shit at building computers. Watch this. And it's going to turn into Skynet, and then we're all going to end up living underground, hiding from the machines like Zion in the Matrix.
I watched that Elon Musk podcast, the first one he did. That got deep. It's really quickly.
It's because he did two.
Yeah.
He did two. The second one I found was like the first one. He seemed really awkward.
He was like
really like
it was proper like on something.
The second one, when he talks about all the Neuralink stuff and all that, is pretty crazy. But that first one, there's a few moments in it where it's like, what?
Yeah, what? Are you okay,
I don't want to think about these things.
Yeah, but it's just the way he speaks. It's like I read a comment which perfectly described it. He speaks as if he's from the future, trying not to give out all the secrets. I thought that was actually genius. Because the way he just like he speaks and then he stops and then he's like looking around, and then he speaks again and then he stops. He's like trying to constantly think like can't say too much.
It's like what? Yeah, how do I not let them know that I'm from?
Yeah.
It's if anyone is going to be from the future,
it's
or an alien,
it's him.
He's got to be like no one.
Do you know he's got COVID?
Apparently, allegedly,
he said
he had it.
He's had like 4 tests or something, and 2 of them came back positive, 2 of them came back negative.
Yeah, but I don't really understand a lot of the COVID testing things. But apparently, there are certain things that you do in your daily life that can give you a false positive.
Great.
I don't know what they are, and I probably shouldn't even mention it, as I don't know what I'm talking about. But apparently, there are a number.
It's called Misinformed, so we are allowed to chat shit.
Yeah, Misinformed is the name of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of scary how. Like, I was watching. What was I watching? I can't remember what I was watching. It was probably something to do with like a Trump rally or something, but. It was these women being interviewed by this reporter while they're doing because they're doing rallies at the moment, aren't they? Like Trump,
stop
MAGA
the
rallies, something like that.
The Million MAGA March.
So I was watching that, and like the answers that they give to these questions, it's just from a normal, rational human being, it seems absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like, how can someone be so brainwashed into thinking these things? Like the reporter asked, what would you say to the young girls of the United States? And this woman responded with, "You've got to get grabbed by the," Trump's famous quote.
Yeah. Well, of course, you've got to get. You've got to go out there and get grabbed.
But didn't everyone just fight for everyone's rights for like?
But it's 2020, and the truth doesn't matter anymore. Objective truth and rationality, and thinking before you talk, and saying something.
You don't need facts, do you?
No. You don't. You just have to say whatever you think is true, and then it's true.
That's insane.
It's crazy. Trump. Have you scrolled through Trump's Twitter feed recently?
Not recently. I
have never seen more flagged tweets in my entire life. Everything has got fraud warnings on it, or this is disputed, or this is disputed. Like, it's mental. Yet there's apparently 750,000 people in Washington DC at the moment marching in support of him. As crazy as he's been over the last 4 years, everything that he's done, everything that he said, all the impeachment, the paying off porn stars, the locking children in cages and separating them from their parents, the meeting up with the leaders of North Korea, the KKK, Putin, China, all of that stuff, 70 million people voted for him still. And now are willing to take to the streets to agree with him when apparently he's very, very wrong.
That thing you sent me last night was like on point.
The Bill Maher thing.
Yeah, that was on point. That's exactly. They're not fighting for like him. Like they're fighting for. They just hate the other side.
Yeah.
So they just do whatever.
This is the other thing. Like more people voted for Joe Biden to be president than anyone else in American electoral history. He got more votes than Barack Obama twice. Like he is the most voted for president-elect in human history in America. But people aren't necessarily voting for him. No, they're just voting for not Trump.
Yeah.
And when you've got such a bad system, like it's very much the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. I mean, that was the last election as well, wasn't it? Like, was it Trump and Hillary?
It was Trump and
it was Hillary, wasn't it?
It was
Hillary.
No, they canned Bernie Sanders pretty quick. It's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, Hillary.
Yeah. But even then, she's like, she's no better.
No. I haven't really read up too much about her, but some things seem a bit.
I'll send you a link for it when we're done. There is a website that keeps track of every dead body that's connected to the Clintons, and there's fucking loads of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there's loads of them. The lad that leaked, you know, in the 2016 election, the Democrat Party in America, they canned Bernie Sanders deliberately to get Hillary through. Like they really? Actively suppressed Bernie to get Hillary through because they thought that she was the one that could beat Trump.
Right.
And they shouldn't have done it. It's against the rules and blah, 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 blah. The guy that leaked the fact that they'd done it got shot in the back outside his front door in broad daylight. It was put down as a mugging or a robbery that went wrong. But his phone, keys, wallet, everything was still in his pockets. He was completely untouched. They literally just shot him and ran away. And it was like a day after he leaked the stuff about Hillary.
Fucking hell.
Mate, honestly, there's like, I'm not a big fan of like crazy people making YouTube documentaries, but there's so many out there about the Clintons.
Yeah.
That it's impossible not to join the dots at some point. Like, there's so many dead bodies that can be connected to them. So, like, hundreds, I think.
You just talking about joining the dots. You just reminded me of something that I was watching. Do you know, there's this thing called the Umbrella Man. Have you ever heard of the Umbrella Man?
No.
In the JFK, like, there's a tape, isn't there? There's like there's loads of like, yeah. So in all the like photographic evidence and stuff, there's this one guy who has an umbrella, and he's the only person in the entire like state, because it's a sunny day, who was wearing an umbrella on that day, and like the whole like conspiracy theory community went mad thinking that he's like this kind of time traveler person who's like seen the future and he wants to come back and watch the events, because he was there at the exact point where JFK got shot. So he was like about 10 meters away. So and he was the only person in the whole of all of that footage that had an umbrella and a black coat.
That's really strange.
Really strange, right? When you think about it, really, really weird. But he came forward. The guy that was the Umbrella Man came forward. And he said, I was doing it because it was in protest of one of the policies that JFK's dad made or something like that. Right. Something along those lines. And I only say that because you said joining the dots. It's like, it's so easy to make or think up a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But it's so hard for you to think about all of the truths and like the possible actual scenarios.
Yeah.
And I just think that's quite interesting.
I like going down.
Oh, it's so fun.
I love going down. Like the amount of COVID conspiracies that I've read are unbelievable, and they're all amazing. Mm-hmm. But they're all so extravagant that it's impossible for them to be true. Like a lot of people are going on this whole they're using it as a method of control or to track you or like to do that. Like, you've got a phone in your pocket, and a Wi-Fi connection at home. Like they don't need anything else to track you 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You got Facebook, you got a phone. If you've got an Alexa in your house, then that's all they need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the idea of controlling people through vaccines and all this. Like I see people rightly talking about thalidomide. Do you remember thalidomide?
I've heard of it.
It was like a thing that they gave to pregnant women. I want to say like the 70s or the 80s, but it was very untested, and it gave a load of people like horrifically deformed babies. And
it
was horrible, but it was untested, and it was a different world in the 70s and the 80s than it is now. And the fact that there are huge percentages of the population that are unwilling to take a COVID vaccine because they think it's part of a government plan to control everyone, or to make everyone sterile so they can't breed, so that the ruling class can take over the world. And like,
I'm laughing now, but if this is actually true, I'm going to look like a right idiot.
If it is true, then we're all fucked. But I tend to put my faith in the system. Like, there's a reason that people don't get polio and smallpox and the other however many hundreds of diseases and illnesses that have been eradicated through vaccines over the last 100 years. Like, it's a system that works.
It's just like they're scared that the government's going to control them with a vaccine, but surely they're already like, this is probably a conspiracy theory as well, but they're already being kind of controlled in a way with all the advertisements and things that they see, and all they're being swerved into different like routes and things and buying different products, so they're already being controlled.
Like, how do you think Amazon knows what you've looked at before? Like, Amazon doesn't get those recommendations out of nowhere. YouTube doesn't get its recommendations out of nowhere. It's because they monitor. They know
everything.
They know everything.
They know more about you than you know about yourself.
Exactly. The
100%.
amount of data that, like, Snowden's book says, the amount of data that the government, especially here and in the United States, the amount of data they've collected over the last decade and just stored forever is a mind-boggling amount of data from everyone in the country. They were collecting it 24 hours a day, constantly. Like, they don't need to put out lockdowns and weird vaccines and track and trace apps and whatever to know what everyone wants or to know where they're all going. Like, it's readily accessible.
Yeah, and like, wow, that's crazy. The amount
and it makes me sound like a fucking tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nut for saying it, but it's true.
Yeah,
like, there is nothing that they can't find out about you if they want to.
No.
Google saves every single letter that you put into that search engine forever. Everything you've ever searched for. If you came back at like 2:00 in the morning, hammered, and started searching for, well, I don't know, things that you wouldn't want people to know you were searching for.
Google knows.
Google knows. They know everything, man.
And the government can get a warrant.
Yep.
To easily get that stuff as well.
Or Google can just sell it to people for massive amounts of money.
Pretty sure that's their business model, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just selling
people's data. It's like you said. We
sound like nutters.
Absolute nutters. But you said it before. Like, I don't know, when we was across the road before. Like, ads and things, actual commodities are not the business anymore. Like, people are the business. But the data that's connected to me and you and everyone else, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to create something new necessarily if you can just steer people towards something that already exists.
Yeah.
And you just have to know what people are into.
It's like it's unlimitedly it's always scalable. Like, it doesn't matter. You can just always collect more data from more people, make more money. It's
exactly. Every time you sign into something through Facebook, like if you go to Spotify and it says log in through Facebook, or however many other millions of websites you can do that with, all of that data goes somewhere. It's not just like, oh, well, we'll just do it through Facebook and then we'll forget about it. Every single click of that mouse gets stored somewhere.
That's crazy.
It's terrifying. But
can it sometimes it can be used for good though. It must be able to.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, like for the YouTube example, it's like I love the fact that YouTube knows what I want to watch before I know what I want to watch because I can see it and go, oh yeah, that's all right. I'll click on that.
I like how quickly I can change it as well.
Yeah.
Like all it takes is a couple of hours of looking at certain things, and all of your suggested videos change.
Yeah.
All of them. But
there was a big old problem with conspiracy theories because it's so easy, like you said, it's so easy to just get down that rabbit hole. Because people were doing that, YouTube thought, oh my God, people are staying on our website for ages. Let's recommend them more. So there was just like many conspiracy theories on YouTube. They had to like nip it in the bud before it get too crazy.
Yeah, flat Earth, hollow Earth, aliens.
Hollow Earth? What the fuck is hollow Earth?
Yeah, so there's a not. I don't know too much about it, but there's one theory that the Earth is hollow and there's a race of hyper-intelligent aliens living, or lizard people or something. Or maybe they're just regular people, I don't know, but living inside the Earth somewhere. the idea that there's some that are,
oh my God,
that have started based like. Do you know what Nibiru is?
I've heard of it before.
Or they called it like Planet X. It's like a massive super planet that orbits the outer reaches of the solar system.
Right.
Which apparently there is some truth to. I don't know. But some of it apparently has been proved. But they reckon that's where the people who seeded life on Earth came from. The Anunnaki.
That sounds sick.
They lived there. And they came
a great
here.
Story.
Yeah, they came here and did like a Prometheus style thing.
Oh,
turbocharged some chimps a few million years ago.
But there's never any way of us finding out. That's the problem.
Unless they come back. Or unless we find it.
Bum.
Do you know what? I will take the dog for a walk every now and then, and we'll be up on the golf course that looks out over the sea.
Yeah.
And I can picture in my head one day a gigantic spaceship is just going to come down. I can see it when I look up. Like I can imagine it coming down. Like it's going to happen one day.
You know what? I wish that happens because that sounds like so much more fun than just listening to politics.
Meanwhile, I have never sounded more mental in my entire life. I'll go walking out on a golf course picturing aliens.
Oh God. Oh, so this is
And I haven't smoked a joint in 7 weeks. This is me without that. Imagine that.
Oh my God. This episode is sponsored by therapy. Oh my God. People are going to think we're actually crazy.
I don't know. Okay.
But it brings us back to the point of misinformation, though, doesn't it? Because there's so much data, and you're always constantly being fed. Like yesterday, right? I was watching. I told you I was on a music binge, right? I was watching so many just random shit, and I actually got to the point where I was like, I need to stop because I feel like I genuinely feel like I'm like overwhelmed of like just things going in my. Like I went to bed last night, and I just laid there. Just thinking because there was so much that I watched and so much stuff to think about, and I honestly felt a little bit overwhelmed with all the stuff that I read and watched. But that's every single day now. That's normal.
You can do that to yourself you can fire your brain
single
every
day. Yeah.
I sent you that Royce the 5'9" freestyle from the LA Leakers, which is arguably the best freestyle I've ever watched. But that has. I mean, that's not for them only. That's number 100. There's 99 before that, and God knows whatever they've done since. So I sat there watching people freestyle rap on the radio for like an hour and a half last night.
If I asked you yesterday what you're going to do tomorrow, would you ever have thought about you would be doing that?
No. No, absolutely not. I would have thought I've got to go to work on Wednesday. I'll be preparing for that. No.
It's mad.
No, I'm watching some great, some awful rappers on the internet.
But on the other hand, it's incredible. Like we're living in a day and age where we can literally find out almost anything that you want instantly.
So when you think about it, it's incredible.
It really, like you have access to like millions of other computers on the planet instantly. Just any information that you could think that you want to know. You can know just straight away.
Everything from Mexican wrestling to string theory.
Yeah.
Like, and everything in between.
Do you think there's going to be a point where universities and schools just don't matter anymore?
Yeah. No, not necessarily schools, but universities for sure.
Yeah, universities.
I think we're almost there already. And like, for most things, like, no, for certain things, like if you're going to study business or finance or shit to do with the economy or physics, stuff like that, like stuff that's like hyper complex, absolutely, I think that universities need to be around for them. But the idea of having a degree to get a good job now is vanishing pretty quick.
I remember working in Superdrug down in town, and a young lady came in. Oh, my voice is going. A young lady came in with a CV, and you're not supposed to read CVs unless you're like the manager or whatever.
Do you know what? I've never handled one.
Okay, so she gave me the CV, and I just sort of like peeked it because I was bored, and it said she had I think it was something like a master's degree in like biochemistry or something like. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I know it was stupid. And she was handing a CV to Superdrug.
Yeah.
Then this must have been almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like now. It must be even worse.
The thing is, like, I've always found in the jobs that I've all the time I worked in construction, I never went to college. I never went to university for it. I learned everything on site as I needed to. Like, if I needed to know something, I just went and learned it. Like, I just learned it as and when I need it basis. And I was surrounded by some people that are just mind-bendingly smart. But I got to a point where I was very successful at it for a period before all this happened.
Yeah,
I got myself to a point where I was earning like very good money, working with like a lot of companies like Rolls-Royce and Amazon and all these like housing projects that are run by footballers and who are looking at me to answer questions for them, and I'm clearly, like, as far as like on paper, like not qualified to do it.
Right.
But as long as it's in your brain and you know how to do it, I don't understand why having a degree is a thing.
It's just a little mark on a bit of paper, really, isn't it? At the end of the day.
I mean, again, if you're going to be an accountant or a solicitor, or I don't know if you need to go to the uni to be a stock market trader or like a rocket scientist or something like that. Like, if you want something, if you're going to work at SpaceX building rockets, you need to have a degree in whatever it is, because you need to have the experience of all that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you need all that knowledge in your brain.
Yeah.
If you want to be a doctor, like
a lot of those things
surgeon,
you're saying, are like they're risky as well. Yeah. So you need like the confidence of a degree, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the thing. For someone who's trying to fill a job, if I'm trying to employ you, it gives me peace of mind knowing that you've got a degree in whatever. Like, because otherwise it feels like you're just taking a chance on someone.
Yeah. And
do you know what I mean?
It takes more time. If it was, because I went for a few programming jobs, and I don't have a degree in computer science, and it must be so much easier for the employer to be like, okay, he's got a degree, nice. He hasn't. See you later. But there's no point in checking if that person who hasn't got a degree is better. Yeah. Then it just takes more time, isn't it? It takes more resources. So it's just easier to be like, okay, you got a degree, sweet, come in, have an interview.
But on the other hand, like the jobs that I interviewed for that I wasn't on paper qualified for, they'd give me 3 months to prove myself. If I was no good at the end of that 3 months, and before that 3 months is up, if it turns out that you're terrible, they're like, right, see you later. They find someone else. Yeah. I don't understand why that system isn't.
That should be the way.
I don't think they should be doing that for surgeans. No, or for doctors. Or do you know what I mean? Like, don't give me a 3-month trial to see if I can remove someone's heart safely.
Oh no, another one's dead.
Look, I think we're going to get to a point where, like, at least a physical university is going to be.
I mean, COVID times have changed that already, haven't they? Like, I imagine open uni is like exploding right now.
Oh, I bet it is.
But people at home just like know what to do. I'm getting open uni.
Well, I've got a few friends that are university lecturers that I've seen just on social media just raving about the fact that they have to go back, because it's pointless. It's like we can teach over Zoom, we can do our lectures over there, we can do it, we can record it ourselves. Like the fact that we all have to be in a room is inconsequential.
It's olden times now.
Yeah.
You don't need that anymore.
It's a thing. It's a part of COVID. I think part of coming out of COVID is going to be, excuse me, people are realising that for the most part, like a lot of people don't have to travel to an office to go to work every day. Like I think, if I remember right, Saga have kitted everyone that works in their call centres. They've kitted them all out with like laptops and headsets and phones and all that sort of stuff. And then just sent them away and said, right, you can work from home forever.
Amazing.
Because they can sell the office block, that huge building in Folkestone.
I bet that was like loads to rent. That must have been so much.
Well, I don't know if they owned it. I'm assuming they owned it.
Yeah.
But just the upkeep of it.
Yeah.
And the overheads that come with running a building that size. And they've got the other one, the crazy glass one down the road as well. Just get rid of both of them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Let everyone work from home. But because statistically, people are more productive when they work at home. They're happier. They're healthier.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to get in your car and travel to a certain place just to do
the same thing you could do at home?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
That brings us back to like the whole connected. Like the internet's changed everything. Like,
yeah.
You don't need to leave your house anymore.
No, you don't. And
you really don't. If you wanted to, you don't need to leave your house at all.
No. And I kind of like it. Home. Like when the first lockdown happened in, what was it, March, April?
Yeah, March, I think it was.
I made almost zero changes to my daily routine to fit in with a nationwide total lockdown. Yeah. Like it was surprising how little upheaval it had on me, apart from the fact that the kids were at home all the time.
Yeah. I can't say it didn't change anything for me. It didn't not even a slightest difference.
And I think we're probably lucky in as much as like we have families that we live with.
Yeah.
And all that. Like I would imagine if you're living on your own, then it must have been absolute torture. If you're used to just your social life involves you leaving your house to go and meet people because you live on your own.
Yeah.
Spending 3 months locked in with yourself like that must have been fucking torture.
A lot of the time, people's social lives only involve work. Like sometimes, a lot of the time, it's just going to work. That is your social.
Yeah, well, you spend more time with the people you work with than you do with your own family for the most part.
So if you're coming home living alone, fuck that. Holy shit. Just staring at a wall for 8 hours until you go back to work. Yeah.
I mean, FaceTime is all right, but it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? No. It's a weird sort of double-edged thing, because then at the same time you had knobheads like, do you know that singer Sam Smith? Do you know what I mean?
I know who he is. What did he do?
So when first lockdown happened, he had all these videos of him. I don't know if they're on Instagram or Twitter or wherever he put them, of him just crying about how terrible his life was now that he wasn't allowed to leave his house. And it's like, just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. You've got millions of pounds. You've got millions of pounds. Like you're not having to visit food banks and everything else like everyone else. You're not fighting for fucking toilet roll and pasta and God knows whatever else. Like
you're not going to be kicked out of your huge house.
Yeah, there were people that lived and he had people that he lived with.
Fuck's sake.
But now there are people that genuinely live alone and have God knows whatever mental health issues that some people have already. That being alone for 3 months is just only going to make them worse.
They've just released I don't know if it was the government or someone released a study that it's saying that there's been no noticeable increase in suicides.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I don't know. It must have been the government because
No, of course it was. It's bollocks.
Absolute bollocks.
If you look at any mental health charity,
yeah, they're all fucked, aren't they?
They're all saying
so much load.
They're all saying that they've had a dramatic increase in their activity, whether it's talking to people on a daily basis or I think it's unquestionable that the suicide rate's gone up.
It must have done.
It absolutely has to. You can't lock people away for 3 months and expect some of them not to be.
I mean, we're social creatures, aren't we? We're designed to speak to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we need social interaction.
Yeah, and if you look at the fact that people, I mean, I'm talking about it in a little bit of a frivolous way, but it's because I don't really understand it all that well. But it's like people are hanging themselves and jumping off bridges and crashing cars deliberately and whatever before COVID hit. Like just regular day-to-day life. There's people that struggle with it so much that they feel like they can't handle it. So then to put in lockdown and all these restrictions and
I guess it's like the end of the road for them, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, okay, well, this is happening. This is it. I'm
like
done,
you can't see an end to it. You get 6 weeks into lockdown and you're fucking miserable and you can't see an end to it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like some people are rational enough to go, oh well, it's only going to be another 6 weeks and then it's done.
Yeah.
Like it's just not the way the mind works for some people.
Yeah.
So for the government, if they have said that, to say that
I'm pretty sure I saw a study that someone. I'm not sure if it was released by the government, but I did see it. I use Reddit quite a lot, and on Reddit, you just see the titles of articles.
Yeah.
I hardly ever actually click on them and read them. I just see the titles. I'm kind of part of the problem.
It's easily done though.
Instant gratification. Why am I going to read why am I going to see a title, read an article when I can just scroll down again to another funny meme?
Yeah, exactly.
Instant gratification. There's no point.
Exactly.
I understand it. I'm definitely part of the problem.
I've almost given up on the news now.
Oh, it's fucked.
I've almost completely given up on it, especially articles online, because they're the fucking worst.
You know what? It pisses me off, right? I have clicked on a few. It's rare, but I have clicked on a few. And there's like maybe half a paragraph of text. And it's just ads.
Yeah.
Just fucking ads or a paywall or
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
And 90% of the time, the headline is not even remotely connected to what the article says afterwards.
Yeah, it's just clickbait, isn't it? I'm very familiar with clickbait. Like, it's part of my daily life is clickbait.
There's been all this thing with Marcus Rashford the last couple of days. Have you seen that? Like the Daily Mail printed an article about him online that said that he bought a bunch of houses that is either one house or a bunch of houses, but the value of all of it was like £2 million.
Right.
And they put it as like Marcus Rashford buys £2 million homes, blah blah blah, campaigning footballer and because he did the whole free school meals thing and he's done this book kind of thing. But what they're saying is like the headline is sowing that seed of like, well, if you were campaigning for children to have better things and whatever, why are you spending all this money on yourself? And it's completely disingenuous. They're two completely separate issues. And he rightly went online and said, look, like, I'm not just taking care of myself, I'm taking care of my family. And like I came from nothing and I'm providing for my family. Like, God, like, don't mix these two things up. They're two drastically different things. And for like, how many other people have stuck their neck out as much as he has over the last 2 years to make sure that things are for fucking children to get fed? Do you know what I mean?
To me, that's insane because that should just be a basic human.
If the government are going to give away 1.5 billion quid in dodgy COVID contracts, they can fork up 60 million quid for free school meals over half term.
Is that what it was? Is that
20 million quid a week. So to get through to April, I think they said it was like between 60 and 80 million quid.
Did you hear about that shipping contract they did?
Yeah.
It was like a company that's been available or not even doing anything shipping wise.
Yeah.
And they gave them a contract for like $1 billion or something stupid.
Do you know that they gave tens of millions of quid to that ferry company that didn't own any ferries? Like,
they can't afford to give fucking children food.
Yeah. They gave 850 million quid to HS2 last month because it's behind schedule to try and bring it back up because it's fallen behind because of COVID and all this stuff, and partly because it's a terribly managed project that is ever going to succeed. But they gave it 850 million quid to try and get it back on track. Just gave it 850 million quid, but they can't fork out 60 million quid to make sure fucking starving children are fed.
Do you think that they print money? Do you think that they don't actually have money?
No, it's all just numbers on someone's computer.
They just we can give a billion there. It doesn't really affect us, does it? We're just fucking giving you some numbers.
Yeah. But I think I've been thinking about this more and more, because the more that money becomes digital and less of something that you hold in your hands, the less I think these huge companies and governments and whatever, that I think they have less appreciation for the value of it. Like, it's quite easy for them to say, oh, well, it's only 850 million quid that we gave to HS2, as if like it's just an amount of money. It's not a big deal. 850 million quid. The fucking good work you could do with what they're doing on HS2, which has been shown time and time again that it's pointless and that it's not going to make any difference and that it can't finish on time, and they're destroying the countryside for it.
For those in, like, if you're listening in like America or somewhere else, the HS2 is a high speed train line, isn't it? Is it just a line? It's just one line down the country.
I think they put it as a system, so it runs between London. It goes London, Birmingham, and then on to like Manchester and And the
so
north.
It's a train track, basically.
Yeah, it's a high speed train track, but they are carving up historic woodland, compulsory land grabs, taking off farmers and people, like bulldozing people's houses. They're doing they're just going, right, okay, well, your house is in the way, so we're going to take it. This is how much we're going to give you for it. This is how much we think it's worth. So you can take that. It's compulsory, and then we're just going to bulldoze it, put a train through. But it's not going to work. But it doesn't get, like, the high speed from here to London doesn't hit high speed until you get to Ashford, which is more than halfway there.
Yeah.
Right? The high speed 2 is going to do the same thing. So I think, and again, I might be wrong, but I think it goes regular from, it goes high speed from here to Birmingham. Mm-hmm. So it gets to Birmingham in like 45 minutes.
Okay.
From London to Birmingham in like 45 minutes.
From London to Birmingham.
But then from Birmingham to Manchester and everywhere in the north, it's regular speed.
So why are they calling it
or
high
it's
speed?
Either that or it's the other way around. It's regular speed to Birmingham and it's high speed after. But it doesn't make a difference. In terms of like the people that have crunched the numbers and worked out like how many people travel and all that shit, commuter times and money and all that all of them across the board have said there's no point in doing it. There's no point in HS2. Yet they're going to spend £500 billion on it.
500 billion?
500 billion pounds. That's what it's going to end up at.
Is that where my tax goes?
They forecast it at like 180, I think. But if you look at Crossrail and all the stuff they did in London, like, it never ever finishes on time, and it never ever finishes on budget either. The Olympics didn't finish on budget, and almost didn't finish on time. Cost billions of pounds more than it was supposed to. And HS2 is going to do the same thing. I got offered a job going to Roald Woods in, I think they were like Cambridgeshire, Oxfordshire, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And they wanted someone to plot out the route of the train track so that they knew which trees to chop down. It's a woodland that's like hundreds of thousands of years old. Like, it's a proper ancient woodland. I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that black mark on me.
No, you'd never be able to sleep. That's horrible.
And they're paying people, because no one wants to do it. The money to go and do it is fucking ridiculous. Like, they're on about paying people. When I turned it down, they were on about paying people like £450 a day. Because to get on site, you have to fight your way through all the protesters and all that lot, and then you have to have the negativity on your own mind of going, I took a bunch of trees that are thousands of years old and chopped them down so they can put a bullshit train track through it. It's awful. But that much, think of that, 500. It's projected by people who are much smarter than me that HS2 is going to cost in the region of 500 billion quid to finish. Think of all the good you could do with that money.
500 billion. That's insane.
Yeah. You could wipe off student debt and fund the NHS with that. Remember all that Brexit thing of like 350 million quid a week that they were giving to the EU? That they were going to give it all to the NHS. No, look at the fucking state of that. They're crooks, mate. Every single one of them. Fucking crooks. 500 billion quid could do an unspeakable amount of good. Yet they're chopping down trees and putting down train tracks. It's depressing when you think about it.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, why?
Yeah. Yet they can't find 60 million quid to feed hungry children between now and Easter.
I hate our government. Holy shit.
This is taking a bit of a dark turn.
Yo, have you ever watched V for Vendetta?
One of the best films I've ever seen.
Oh,
this is amazing.
Brilliant.
Here's something that's a bit more cheery. I watched Lewis Hamilton drive to his 7th World Championship this weekend.
What a god.
He drove like a fucking wizard. It was unbelievable. I've honestly, it was not his way. They resurfaced the track in Turkey like relatively recently.
Yeah.
So the second it started raining, no one had any grip. It was like all it was like is driving on ice essentially. And Lewis Hamilton started in 6th. It was widely considered he'd be lucky if he hit the podium.
Right.
And he fucking won it. He
lad.
absolutely won it. 7 world titles, arguably the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time. It was amazing.
Has he got his own like games and stuff like Tony Hawk has for skateboarding? He should have his own like Formula 1 games. And
the thing with Formula 1 is that it's a privately owned.
Yeah.
So it's a like the UFC is a league. The Formula 1's a similar thing. So they own. Yeah, they own the name. They own track rights for certain of them, like the track layouts. They own the visuals for all the cars, all the drivers, sponsors, everything. The Formula 1 games that they're making now, the Codemasters ones, are unbelievably good though.
Really?
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah. I see. I can't remember his name, but I watched this guy on YouTube who's all he does is there's like an online version of like this online game that's leagues, like a normal competitive game. There would be leagues, but it's for racing. I don't know what it's called, but he plays it all the time on YouTube, and he's got like an actual steering wheel and all this kind of shit, and he's fucking mad. I'd love to have a full setup like that.
Like with the quality of the games that people put out now, with like the new, like I say, the new Formula 1 games are amazing. The Gran Turismo games for PlayStation are
Gran Turismo,
fucking amazing. And then you got like Forza and all the other like
Gran Turismo.
The bar is so high now.
Yeah, that must have been the first. That must have been the first game that I remember. Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah. It's still good when you go back and play it now. It's still good. It's hard to control, but it's still good, man. Because
I remember you because you could upgrade your car, couldn't you? You could upgrade like all the little bits in your car and shit like that.
That's the thing, because I'm not.
That was quality.
I'm not particularly smart when it comes to cars either. Like I don't know how. Like when it comes to a game, when it's like, oh, you can upgrade this and you can do that. And like, Formula 1 games give you things for like downforce and aerodynamics and handling and power. And I was like, I don't know what it is, so I just
want to race.
Auto upgrade everything. Just you decide. You decide. But in terms of like physically playing the game, like the mechanics of it, the physics of it, is and the way that it looks, like the graphics of it are just.
I used to really love the rally games.
Yeah,
they were sick. They're getting like Dirt 2 and Dirt 1.
Yeah,
they're getting real good now. I should.
There's a few out there now that are really good, man.
Have you seen there's a game called Beam NG, and the whole point of the game is a physics sandbox for car destruction. So you're basically you have your own car. You can make your own map, and it's like ramps and shit. But it's ultra realistic destruction. So you crash into a wall, and your car will crumple how it actually crumples in real life. And you can still drive away, and it's all like super realistic. Oh, it's so good. So much fun to mess around in. You can make like loop-de-loops and shit, and it's all like the suspension works. You can get like a Jeep with the suspension.
I'm going to write that down. What's it called?
Beam NG.
Beam NG.
BAMNG.
Very cool. BAM.
Yeah, Beam NG.
Okay.
It's on Steam, I think. It's fucking it's so good.
I'm going to look that up. Beam NG. There's a kid out there going mental, isn't there? Okay, right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna look that up because I'm like,
it's good. It's really fun. I don't know. I think there's like mods as well for it, so people can make mods. I'm not sure if that. I think there is. I think there's like a Steam Workshop with
Oh, is it PC?
Yeah, it's a PC game. Yeah. But it'll run on that. It'll run on that. We've got a little podcast in.
That's not a bad idea. I'm in an iron at the moment as to whether to buy a new Xbox, like the new
consoles.
Series.
Ooh, they're coming out very soon, aren't they?
Yeah, you got your PlayStation on pre-order, didn't you?
Yeah, it's 3 days away. It's gonna be sick. To be honest with you, right? I've never really been into console. I've never really been into gaming that much, right? It's really weird that I'm a gaming YouTuber. It's really strange. I don't know what happened in my life to get this to this point, but I'm kind of excited for it, but I'm like, meh. It's to be honest with you, it's more of a thing that I can get the missus to play, and then I can just chill out and read a book. I'm really hoping she doesn't watch this, but I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I'm more excited for the technology. Like just looking at the graphics and what they're doing with the SSD and stuff, it's going to be.
I've
cool
tried.
To see what they're doing.
I've tried PC gaming so many times, and I chalk a certain percent of it up to the fact that I'm left-handed. So all the movement, all the mouse movement with the right hand is a bit weird, and the buttons with the left, because I'm obviously on a console controller, you're the other way around. All your buttons are on your right side, and you're moving with your left. Do you know what I mean? So that sort of that bit throws me off a little bit.
You must be able to get a left-handed mouse, because I can't imagine.
Yeah, but I can't. My hand isn't used to making my left. It's just the sensitivity of little movements that you need in your hand to control a mouse properly. It's just not there, and it's there in my right hand, but it means I can't do fuck all with my left because I'm not used to shooting with it. That's why I've always preferred console.
It's far more comfortable playing on console with the controller in your hand like that.
Especially those Xbox controllers are a bit chunky and like.
I don't know why we chose PS5. I really don't.
Well, you chose wrong.
Oh no, console war. Oh Jesus, here we go. I don't. To be honest, I haven't really seen too much about the Xbox. Was it Xbox Series X?
Series X, yeah.
Do you know? I found out the other day. I think I know why they didn't call it why they do call it, because they've got a really weird naming convention, haven't they? The Xbox. Yeah. It's always some. It's because back in the day, somebody bought a domain name for the future console. And then the Sony didn't know about it. I think it was Sony. They didn't know about it, and then they had to go and buy the domain name off him, and then he charged them like extortionate amount of money.
Wow!
So they've already gone through and done all the design and everything for the. So they just bought this domain name. I think that's why they.
What? So some guy bought like
he predicted 2, the name.
PlayStation 3,
he predicted the name
4.
of future consoles. I think it was Sony, or I'm not sure if it was Xbox or Microsoft. I don't know, but that is a story out there that he predicted the name of the future console and bought the domain name for it. Genius. But yeah, I haven't seen too much about the Xbox Series X or the PS5. I've watched the tech demos and stuff.
Yeah,
which are pretty interesting.
I mean, people get all up in the air about it, but I think
it's about the same.
I think inside both of them are pretty much exactly the same.
Like they're both going to be 4K.
Yeah.
Like
the only thing that ever put me off a PlayStation was the controllers.
Yeah.
I just can't get along with their controllers. They're too it just feels
I'm
cumbersome.
Curious to see how this one's going to feel, because it's slightly I think it's slightly longer on the
it's more. It looks like it's a bit wider. Like the angle on it's a bit wider.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think I do agree with you. Like Xbox controllers are far better.
They're just they feel more natural in hands. It's the way the the thumbsticks are as well. Like there's something to do with the distance between them is similar to the distance for like the center of your eyes, so that your hand-eye coordination is improved with them somehow.
I like how they like with the Xbox controllers, you can plug them straight into your computer and they just work.
Yeah.
With the PS4, you got to do some fucking weird magic shit to get them to work on PC. You got to get this proper dodge. It's not good. Yeah. So.
I'm. Because the thing is, at some point, there's going to be a day where Grand Theft Auto 6 turns up.
Yeah, all right.
There's going to be a day.
Or that the PS10, maybe. It'll be a remastered version.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. One day, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come. And I don't want to play it on an Xbox One. I want it to be 4K as epic as it can possibly be, you know? And if you believe some of the people that worked on Grand Theft Auto 5 and some of the voice actors and whatever. 6 is already done. They just haven't released it yet. And if it is done,
why would they not?
Can you imagine if they just Beyonce'd it and just went, right, it's out today,
Bang.
just out of nowhere,
just
boom,
before Christmas,
surprise. Yeah, like the 14th of December.
Yeah. Oh,
it's just someone from Rockstar tweets it. Grand Theft Auto 6 is out today.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
By the way, yeah. Oh. No hype.
I never understood why people didn't do that more. Like musicians have done it a lot.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce's done it a few times. Eminem's done it twice. Run the Jewels have done it. Like there's loads of people across music that have just dropped surprise albums out of nowhere. But they've never done it with a game, especially a game that's like highly anticipated, like a Call of Duty or a Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto or something like that.
I suppose it's just the way it's always been, isn't it? You always build hype.
Is it because there's so much money behind them as well? Like it costs so much. Like a game like Red Dead 2 must cost a fortune to get it done.
Fuck. I think didn't Grand Theft Auto take like 8 years to make or something stupid like that?
They take
like a long time to make, and it's probably I think it's just below Minecraft on like the top grossing game of all time.
Is Minecraft the most grossing game of all time?
It's got to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
Have you got any data?
I haven't.
Oh,
no.
Fuck.
No, I've got no signal in here.
I'm pretty sure that Minecraft is on top.
Wow.
They bought it for $1 billion.
It's what?
They bought it from Mojang for $1 billion.
Fuck me.
£1 billion.
That's crazy.
Or it might have been 1.5 billion. I don't know.
See, for some reason I always thought that it would be something like Fortnite. I'd assume that would be close to the top.
But that's quite kind of new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Minecraft's been around.
I'd assume it'd be like a legacy game, something like Halo. That I thought that has been a consistent.
I'm pretty sure that.
But I suppose Minecraft, it's all the
kids, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I never thought about that. Let's have a look. You're not typing.
The keyboard's turned off. Oh, there we go. Top
Wireless. There we go.
Video game of all time. What if it's like Tetris or something? Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Really?
500. What is that? $5,498,200,000. That's crazy.
Wait, what? Oh, there you go. Rank
1. Minecraft. At
200 million sales.
Grand Theft Auto 5 in second place at 135.
And then Tetris. Fucking Tetris.
But look, Tetris is a mobile version. It's not even the console version. It's a mobile version.
100 million downloads of Tetris. Wow.
No, it's $100 million in sales. That second column there is sales.
Yeah. Yo. Wii Sports is number 4.
What is this website that's showing this? Because this might, if this is like, scroll up a bit.
It's from Wikipedia, right?
Oh, Wikipedia. List of best-selling video games on Wikipedia.
So we're currently running on internet was basically from 1999 because of this Wi-Fi is just awful.
Yeah, the router's
so it takes
on the other side of the
yeah,
building.
it takes about 60 years to load a web page.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't think about Tetris.
Tetris.
I didn't think
massive,
about Tetris.
Wasn't it?
It's gigantic, isn't it? But do you know what? I did realise that Minecraft was not even in the top 5
of all of
of
all
of it. And Grand Theft Auto 5 was second. That's
so we had 2 different results there. That was like must have been like recent-ish games.
I think the internet shit the bed, mate.
Yeah, it's fine. It's dead. It's not working, is it?
No.
200 million. That's got to be an old figure. 200 million in sales. That's got to be old, surely. For Minecraft, it basically comes with every Xbox.
Yeah. But that Tetris, the thing I didn't realise about Tetris is, I mean, it was released in what, 1980?
Ah.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, there you go. Yeah.
Oh right. Oh.
So initial release date Minecraft is November 18th, 2011, and it's done 200 million in sales apparently, according to Wikipedia. And then it's Grand Theft Auto 5, then Tetris, then Wii Sports. PUBG playing on those backgrounds? Really? Wow. Pac-Man
Super Mario
10.
Brothers pulling in number 6.
So Red Dead Redemption 2.
Pokemon. Wii Fit at number 8.
Wii Fit Plus.
$43,800,000 in sales.
People really underestimate the Wii. The Wii was everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Like everyone had a Wii.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad bought. I remember them buying it.
Red Dead Redemption 2 comes in at 13.
So Rockstar have got 2 games in the top 20 of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Super Mario Brothers is in there.
So that's 100.
Tetris is in there twice. You got the mobile version by EA at number 3, and then you got the Nintendo version at number 9. For the game,
for
the
1989, released in 1989, 43 million sales.
That's crazy.
From 1989.
What else makes up the top 20? Let's have a look. Wii Sports Resort. Can you scroll down a little bit? Yeah. Wii Sports Resort.
Terraria, yeah.
New
Skyrim.
Super Mario,
Yeah.
Super Mario. So there's 3.
It's a lot of Nintendo.
Yeah. Diablo 3. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, number 18. I thought that would have been higher.
I'm gonna see how much Microsoft bought Minecraft for, if I can. Minecraft. What do I search?
Minecraft
Sales?
sale to Microsoft. I don't know.
Price. No, let's give it about 15 minutes for that to load.
I would imagine that's gonna throw up the sale price of the game.
Yeah, probably.
But sorry, just before you look at this, right? So you got. I'm amazed by how many Super Mario games are in there. So they're at number 6. Mario Kart 8 is at number 11. Mario Kart Wii at number 12.
Super Mario Bros.
Then you got 15, 16, New Super Mario Brothers and New Super Mario Brothers Wii. Like whoever it is at Nintendo who keeps deciding to make Mario games is a fucking genius. Every time I see them, I'm like, they've made another one.
Yeah.
What? Who buys this? But apparently 43 million people.
A lot of
buy
people.
it.
It's what boggles my mind is that's sales. So Grand Theft Auto 5, 135 million sales. How much is that game? 50 quid?
Yeah.
135.
Right,
so they're going to make $1 billion.
Where's my phone?
They've made over $1 billion.
Do you know what? I tried doing maths last time we were in here, and it went sideways.
Well.
So I'm going to try it again. Right. So we want 135 million, and it's £50 a game.
Yeah.
Oh my god. 6,750,000,000.
They've made no wonder they're not making another one. They're just printing money.
Yeah. What was number 1? Minecraft.
Minecraft with 200 million sales.
And
that game, I think it's $19.99 from Microsoft. I think.
Right, so
200 million sales.
Say it's 20. That comes up at 4 billion quid.
Fuck me. They bought it for 2.5 billion.
Jesus Christ.
So how much was that, sorry? What number did you say?
4 billion. 200 million sales. If you assume it's £20 a game.
Yeah.
That gives you 4 billion quid.
So that was a really good investment from them.
And because it's still going, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're only making add-ons and
fucking hell. 2.5 billion.
And that's not including all the fucking merch that they make that goes with it as well.
That's insane. Creative. So I played Minecraft.
36-year-old founded, created.
So yeah, that guy there,
Notch, and sold it to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. He bought himself a $70 million mansion in Beverly Hills, supposedly outbidding Jay-Z and Beyonce. Baller. After completing the Microsoft deal, he didn't join.
It's fucking crazy.
Wow.
So back in the day when Minecraft first came out, I think I played it in just before the version 1 release.
Yeah.
So this was like 2010. When was it come out? Did it say?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, so it must have been like version, because he did like alphas and stuff, and then I found it just as they introduced multiplayer into the game. And you could tell there was something weird and something different about this game because the statistics, because he had a web page where you could see live sales. He made a web page where you could see how many people had bought the game in real time. Or I think every time you refreshed it, you could see how many people. And it was just every time you refreshed, like 3 more sales. Every time you refresh, 5 more sales. Every day, it would exponentially get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Wow.
So there was a point where you'd refresh the page and 150 people had just bought the game. Like, just instantly. Like, he must have made so much money from that game. Because it was
then
huge.
sold
and
it.
just never stopped. And then he sold it. For
He made
$2.5
all
billion.
that money and then sold it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the really, yeah. Fucking hell. Outbid Jay-Z and Beyonce on a $70 million mansion in Beverly Hills. That's when you know you're balling out of control.
Yeah, fucking too right.
That's crazy.
The amount of money in
That's a
games.
crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
When you consider that the UFC and all the money that generates was sold for $4 billion. Minecraft is worth more than half of that.
That's just hilarious, though. That's amazing.
I mean, the UFC as a thing, it's got to be worth more now, but like,
that's fucking crazy.
They were sold around the same sort of period of time as well. I think when was Minecraft deal? It was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
It was quite a while ago.
No. It's just 2015. Yeah, it would have been about the same around the same time.
2015, 5 years ago. $2.5 billion.
Christ.
Imagine the interest on that.
Look at that. The man who sold Minecraft to Microsoft for $2.5 billion says, what's his name? Marcus
Persson said he's never
said
felt
he's never
more
felt
alone.
more alone.
Oh no! Oh shit!
Oh, he's
dude.
Scrooge McDuck, but he's got no friends.
Oh no!
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh fuck! Imagine having $2.5 billion
sad.
quid.
God, a poor fella.
It's funny because you just expect him to be like super happy when he's just sold it for $2.5 billion quid. But he's tweeting he's never felt so far.
Do you know what though? I've never played
God.
Minecraft. I've never played it, but
it was one of those things for me. It was one of those things. It was good back in the day, and then now I'm kind of like,
my kids love it.
Yeah,
and I've got friends who like their kids will watch tutorials on YouTube of how to make something, and then run between the console and the YouTube, like making stuff in real time.
Well, imagine it. It's like when you played with Lego when you were younger.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing, isn't it? But just in a console now, pretty much, with more stuff to do.
Yeah, but Lego's more fun.
Lego's sick, but just don't stand on it.
Do you know there's a Lego Millennium Falcon that
Fucking
you can
expensive.
buy that is like 650 quid.
Would you do that if you had it? Like,
if I had the money if I had 650 quid spare.
If you had that in front of you, would you set the time out to do it? I think I'd get bored. I've got such a short attention span.
I'd do it. I'd make one humongous time lapse video of it.
Yeah. Talking about getting bored, I did 3 tests. It's quite concerning. I did 3 tests yesterday, and each test said I had ADHD. So that's fun. I don't understand it. I get bored very easily. But yeah, I think I'd get bored.
I'll get bored very easily. But at the same time, I'm incredibly lazy. Like, I asked Jem yesterday if there's a possibility of me getting signed off work indefinitely with chronic laziness now that it is actually a recognised disorder.
I definitely have that. I think it comes like with the attention thing. I think it comes. It's got to be getting way more common because of the amount of stuff.
Everyone's got it now.
Yeah. You don't have to focus on anything anymore because there's always something else that you can do.
Try and get someone to watch a 3-minute long YouTube video uninterrupted.
They'll just get bored.
They'll get so fucking bored.
Yeah, I'll get bored.
Everyone's got ADHD now.
Yeah.
Or at least a form
Some
of it.
form of it, yeah. With too much stuff. Do you remember back in the day, like, well, you can't remember it, but like back in like 1900s or 1800s, you would go to a job, you would be happy with that job probably because you don't know of there being anything else. Yeah. That's just your daily life. That's all you know. So
it's a much simpler time. Right?
Yeah. You don't have the choice to do anything else.
Yeah.
So
I was always brought up with the mindset of like a job is just a job. It's just a means to an end.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that you have fun and do something that's worthwhile when you're not at work. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just something that puts money in the bank.
Right.
And as much as I appreciate it, the more I sort of, it makes me sound like such a fucking knobhead when I say it, but the more I get older, the more I think that that what you do for work is arguably more important than what you're doing when you're out of work, because you spend more time at work than anywhere else or doing anything else.
I agree, yeah. If your work isn't enjoyable, there's just like you're wasting like your life basically.
8 hours a day doing something you fucking hate.
Exactly. Like there's so much more opportunity now. You don't have to. I think we spoke about this last time. You don't have to fucking work at Sainsbury's anymore. There's so much stuff.
And don't get me wrong. There are people out there that stack shelves in Sainsbury's or in Aldi.
Yeah, and they love it.
Or road sweepers or fucking whatever, working shops and shit, and they love it and they're very happy doing it.
That's fair enough.
And that's fine. Like more power to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not everyone has to be thinking. But I think if you're unhappy doing that, then the amount of options and avenues there are now to go out and do something that you do enjoy.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just...
The barrier for entry is just non-existent anymore. It's just you can do anything. It's crazy. You can talk about anything. You can make a podcast. You could do fucking anything you want.
Yeah.
And there will probably
you can make Lego tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah.
And make a substantial living from it.
There's a guy that literally he builds Lego contraptions. I don't know if you've seen it, but it went viral on YouTube a few months ago. But he builds these like rotary machines with Lego, and he does like stress tests to see how fast he can.
I've seen it. Yeah,
and it's like millions and millions and millions of views.
Yeah. Just
from making little Lego machines.
Yeah.
And he's making probably like 20-30 grand a month. Absolutely bonkers.
It's odd. The ones that get me are like the kids that do the toy. Like,
Ryan's toy reviews.
He will watch kids playing with toys for fucking hours, like absolute hours.
Yeah.
And when I look into these channels, these kids are getting tens of 50, 20 million views for every single thing that they put up.
Yeah.
And the kid's like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And you know full well the parents are taking every single penny.
Oh, of course. It's a weird,
that kid's going to get to 25 years old and have nothing.
Yeah.
His dad's going to be driving around in a Bentley.
It does worry me a bit like that. At what point does it become like child abuse when you're just using your kid for...
At what point does that kid go, maybe I want to do something else?
Yeah, I don't really want to play with toys. No, you play with your toys.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, we're making thousands of dollars a month. Shut up.
Yeah.
But there's a few of them that have been given like legitimate TV programs on like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon and something like that. And if you're going to transition and do it that way, then that kind of makes a bit more sense.
I just really hope that they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like that. Imagine...
I see it almost like the kids that got forced into talent competitions or beauty pageants and all that sort of stuff. It's like, does it...
And there's like families.
I mean, obviously it's different because they're having fun and playing with toys and whatever. But it still seems a bit weird to me.
There's like channels based on like families and stuff. And they just force fucking cameras in their kids' faces all the time. It's like, that's proper weird. That.
But maybe it's because like I've always been quite a private person to stuff like that. Like I've never really broadcast home life over the internet or on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. I've always liked the fact that stuff's separate from whatever else I've been doing. It just seems
it's weird, isn't it? I don't understand.
It seems cheap. You know what I mean? Like if you've watched House of Cards, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you seen the bit when I think it's like season 4 where Will Conway turns up?
No, I don't think I've watched that far. No, I don't.
So Will Conway is this senator from New York who's like he's ex-army, he's tall, young, handsome fella, this trophy wife and his kids, and their gimmick in the thing is that they live stream everything. They're constantly uploading videos of them and their kids, and it makes them very relatable and blah blah blah. But every time I see someone that does something like that in real life, it just makes me think that you're not a real person. This is not you in real life.
No, it's not. There's always a persona.
This is just like this is your like self-made version of the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like you're not a real person, and no one ever gets to see the real version of you ever because there's always a camera.
That's kind of creepy.
That's
really kind of creepy.
It's weird, man. It's a Black Mirror style thing.
Yeah.
When the cameras turn off, it gets dark.
Oh God.
There's something about it that just it seems creepy to me. Like these people that do, like the vlog, like the every day doing a vlog.
Yeah, that was big a while ago.
Like that Zoella.
Daily vlogging, yeah.
I don't understand why you would want to invite the world into your private life every day.
All day.
It must be exhausting. And then when they go out into public and they are them true selves and they get a bit shitty about something or they get annoyed or they whatever, everyone's like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit."
Yeah.
"Oh no, you're so nice online." Why can't?
That's terrifying. That's really weird.
They're not real people.
They're not.
And they wonder why people in that sort of avenue of entertainment are plagued with mental health issues and everything else.
Yeah.
It's because you're constantly pretending to be someone else.
I wonder at one point, like, if you're constantly pretending to be someone else, at some point, surely you'd forget what you actually are or who you actually are.
The true self just
it just disappears. It's
gets swallowed up by the fake one. And then you get to 40. Then you get to 40 and you have a breakdown.
Midlife crisis. There you go.
Rehab.
Yeah.
Release a book. Back on it.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a formula.
Easy money.
That's the thing. You know what I told you before about the speech that Gervais gives at the end of Extras.
Yeah.
That's a big part of what he's kind of scratching at, and that is like people who go to rehab. They'll call their publicist before they call a taxi. It's like, but it's absolutely right. It's just the way that we've leaned into like image is the most important thing at the moment is ludicrous. Like everyone has to be perfect. It's another thing that Bill Maher thing was saying. Like everyone has to be perfect all the time. Mm-hmm. You can't ever accidentally say something wrong, or make a bad joke, or get annoyed when someone is late in a taxi or whatever. Whatever. Like you can't. You have to be perfect all the time. Otherwise, you're a piece of shit, and you deserve to be exiled from society forever.
What was that tidbit he was saying in that thing that somebody got someone fired or left the show for doing something on that video? I can't remember what he said.
Mario Lopez one.
But yeah, it was like he did something just like normal.
I can't remember. There was one guy.
Fucking break the set.
There was one guy. I forget where he. Oh no, it was an NBA guy or an NFL guy who got dropped by his team because they found out that when he was an 8-year-old child, he bullied someone. Yeah, who was disabled.
He bullied the disabled kid when he was like 8.
When you're an 8-year-old, you're essentially an animal. I don't know what he did, but you're essentially an animal when you're 8 years old. You're barely a person. Like when you're 18, you're barely a person, let alone when you're 10 years before that.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared.
And I've just realised what the time is. We've been going for a while.
Have we?
Yeah. We've been going for a minute.
Fucking hell. Hour and a half. God damn.
Hour and a half. New record.
We should probably finish this up at some point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for listening. Somewhere we are doing an exclusive Patreon thing now. So every other episode or something will be exclusive to Patreon. So the link will be in the description somewhere. And if you're listening on Spotify, can you do stuff like that on Spotify? Add like a description, external links or something? I don't really know. It'll be somewhere. You'll find it.
I don't know.
But yeah, thank you very much. And I guess we'll see you in the next one where we talk utter shite again for an hour and a half.
Misinformed and ill-informed nonsense.
Exactly.
For an hour.
Brilliant.